New Skeleton Barrel evolution, which is very underrated. Let's look and see which evolutions are the best in the game. The Skelly Barrel now has 2 barrels that are tied to each other. At half health, one drops and then the other when it dies. At first glance, it doesn't look like the strongest, but if you think about it, it will now have its death damage twice and spawn twice the skeletons, which is great for certain decks like recruits. But then again, you can counter with log, so I'm gonna put it in A tier for now. It can be very annoying at times, so let's see how it performs. Archers have been in a steady position ever since the arrows got nerfed. I would put them around maybe B, lower B tier. Archers evolutions, they have their moments. They could do insane damage at certain ranges, of course, but really only particularly used with Expo. Again, if arrows gets a buff, then obviously archers, firecracker, all those cards that get countered by arrows, they will be down. But it doesn't look like that's going to happen anytime soon, so we're going to throw them in B tier. Barbarians have been in a weak position for really ever. They are a generally weak troop, and barbarians in general are very weak, and so that is one of the causes as to why the evil barbs suck. That's also the case with a lot of other evolutions, that just the regular card itself just isn't that good, and you have to play it, and you have to play the regular card to get to the evolution. And because the barbs, their rage is not the most powerful thing in the world, it ends up being just not a good evolution. They're gonna need a buff to even get outside of like Lava Hound decks. Bats in my mind have always been pretty annoying. I would throw them in lower A tier. Again, if you have arrows, they're definitely not a concern, but the evil bats are extremely annoying, especially since you can't zap them. And also you have things like Goblin Stein Doctor, he can't counter them with one shot, and even at their base health, they have a little bit more health than the regular bats have, I believe. And because they overheal, it is very annoying, and a lot of interactions are screwed up, which makes the evolution very difficult to deal with. And we have people that play like Mega Knight bats and minor bats. It's so annoying. Then again, of course, arrows is keeping a lot of these evolutions down, and that's a good thing. In my eyes, Battle Ram is really only used with bridge spam. It's not the greatest evolution in the world. There's a lot of these evolutions that just kind of are used in 1 or 2 different types of decks, which is probably how it should be. We shouldn't have an evolution that's used in every single deck. That's pretty broken. Having Battle Ram be limited to bridge spam or archers limited to Expo can be kind of restrictive if you're trying to expand to other decks, but for the balancing purposes, it's a good idea. Again, the pushback with the Battle Ram, it's okay, but buildings are always going to be a great counter to these win condition evolutions. Bomber has been down this year. I mean, 2025 has been a bad year for the Evil Bomber. We're going to throw him in probably lower C tier. There was a point where Evil Bomber was the best evolution in the game. I'm sure I've told this before, but yeah, it used to bounce twice on the tower, bounce twice on troops. It was broken, and at one point it even survived arrows, and it was one cycle. Tough evolution to beat on release, but that's the case with a lot of these evils now. Nowadays, Evil Bomber doesn't really have much position in the meta. I actually haven't seen Evil Bomber like much at all this season. You might see with like maybe minor drill, niche deck maybe, but like other than that, it's very limited. Cannon Evo, I think, is in like a good position, but it's also in a bounce position. That's why they're not going to like nerf it any further. We love that Cannon evolution is always consistently a good evolution. The nerf a couple seasons back where the radius of the meteor was down was kind of necessary. I will tell you that the cannon definitely needed a nerf. At that point, it's getting to like people were switching buildings to the evil cannon. I feel like they should do more building evolutions because they're pretty nice. But yeah, the meteor shower can really help you in a lot of situations, and they might even nerf it again. I'm not sure, but it's definitely a great evolution that you should probably use. I kind of underestimated the Dark Goblin. In log bait especially, it can be really powerful. There's also like a bunch of these like cycle decks with like Boss Bandit and stuff like that. Keep in mind though, Boss Bandit is getting reworked. So that means that spam cycle deck with Boss Bandit, that's going to be down. Another reason why I am putting a higher B tier is because of course the Boss Bandit's getting nerfed and the Dark Goblin is going to be down. The problem is when you have like multiple cards like Suspicious Bush, Goblin Gang, it's hard to log the evil Dark Goblin, and they bait out your log and then they go for the Dark Goblin. It's very annoying. It's not like normal log bait. This is with Boss Bandit. It sucks. Electro Dragon evolution has not been that good recently. I feel like E-Drag has been down. Of course, E-Golem and Golem, you're gonna see them in decks like these, but I'll probably put them in higher B tier, lower A tier, something around that range. The evil E-Drag hasn't been balance changed recently, and that's a good thing because the evil E-Drag is the best evolution in the game, of course. But also keep in mind that there are cards that counter the evil E-Drag, like, you know, Void or maybe Lightning or something like that, that are still in the meta. People have grown accustomed to countering the evil E-Drag, and also the meta shifts, but we hate the evil E-Drag, so let's just keep it down here like this. Executioner, I will stand by the belief the Executioner is going to go in at least like lower S tier or something like that. I am a firm believer the Executioner should be nerfed, but they haven't done it for whatever reason. When you get close, of course, the Executioner pushes you back. This is probably an evolution you should invest in because, especially if you use Executioner, it's a good evolution. And you get your little damage boost. I'm surprised Supercell hasn't nerfed this thing already. It's so stupid. Maybe it's because I get countered by it, but whatever. Firecracker is still a high usage rate evolution, but that doesn't really make it the best evolution. Like, you know, Mega Knight has a pretty high usage rate, but that doesn't make it the best Evo. That's only because they gave out Evo Firecracker in the like Valentine's events, 2 of them actually, and they gave out the Evo Mega Knight in the free events. That will by default give them high usage rates. And so as a result, Evo Firecracker will probably throw it in lower, maybe a higher B tier. I would maintain the fact that, you know, Evil Firecracker is definitely one of the most annoying evolutions in the game, and that does boost it up a little bit. But also keep in mind, Hog is pretty prevalent nowadays, and with Hog EQ especially, like Evil Firecracker is meta, at least to a degree, because it's always going to be popular with that Hog EQ deck. And whatever kind of Hog spam cycle they can come up with nowadays, you can use Evil Firecracker in those. Giant Snowball is still a good evolution. I don't know where all of those drill players with Giant Snowball went. I guess they're still here. I will still maintain the fact that Evil Snowball is a good evolution. It's really underrated. However, it's using that annoying drill deck, and that's what makes it pretty good. Pulls everything back and lets the drill get on the tower, do massive damage. On top of poison, you can't stop this. But it is very situational, and it does take a little bit of skill to use, at least the regular version. We'll throw it in higher B tier, maybe lower A tier. I'll put it down here because we need to populate B tier a little bit. And keep in mind, Evil Snowball is a great evolution. Goblin Barrel Evo got nerfed, and that means it's gonna go down. Now, the fake goblins, they will do less damage. This is all subject to change, but I think Goblin Barrel is gonna be like lower B tier, maybe even higher C tier nowadays. I put Evo Barrel in like A, B tier at the time. But since the fake goblins aren't gonna be much concern anymore, we'll throw him in B tier, but maybe even lower. I'm a firm believer that Evo Barrel is gonna be dead after this, especially considering that now you can see the fake barrel, and now you can discern like, oh, what tower should I go for? You can still obviously use like plays like Evil Knight the bridge and then go with barrel. Fake barrel does insane damage. But now that the damage itself is down, that play is no longer so useful. That play is no longer very useful. You know, we thought Evil Barrel was dead when the fake barrel could be spotted. Now it's probably dead. Evil Dark Goblin will take his place, man. Goblin Cage. I've had my fair share of trouble with the Goblin Cage, but I still don't believe it's a good evolution. Would I put it higher than Evil Barrel though? Yeah, probably actually. When it pulls in, it does damage, of course. And now that I use Goblin Stein, I could definitely see like, hey, maybe this could be a problem for tanks like Goblin Giant Pekka. I'm sure this is probably like a nightmare for Pekka Goblin Giant players. But other than that, it's kind of situational. Against Beatdown, it's okay. But against like any other deck, like you have like Miner or something like that, it's not that good. The only like real saving grace is that the Goblin Brawler that spawns does more damage. And it's one cycle, of course. I feel like they just forgot about Evil Cage. It's kind of a dead evolution right now. They haven't been balancing it. I mean, it's just okay. It's okay. It's probably like middle of the range evolution right now. Goblin Drill. I'm sorry, Goblin Drill. You're gonna have to go down and crap Evo again. It is unfortunate what they've done to the Goblin Drill, bro. Worst evolution in the game by far. 2 seasons ago, maybe Evil Wizard was the worst. It was competing between the two. Now, the Evil Wizard got buffed, of course. Goblin Drill's going down there. I am always a huge advocate for a drill buff, but then again, I know that Goblin Drill Evo in its prime with poison was guaranteed damage. It was unstoppable at that time. So you definitely don't want to bring that back, but you can definitely bring like maybe a weaker version back, just like a tiny buff, Supercell. It's physically the worst evolution in the game. There's no other denying it. For the 3rd season in a row, Goblin Drill Evo had a 0% usage rate in top ladder. That's depressing. Goblin Giant is meta, to a degree at least. Pekka Goblin Giant is in a firm position, but the Skeleton Bear evolution isn't going to affect these two. We'll deal with the Pekka later, but the Goblin Giant, I'm throwing the lower A tier. It is a powerhouse to deal with, and it's only really because of the Evil Pekka alongside of it. On its own, Goblin Giant evolution will probably be like B, maybe even C tier. But with Rage, Goblin Curse, really powerful. It's really stupid that it works, but it does. Hunter Evo has been down. You know, it used to be that the Hunter could consistently trap people and it would go forever. Now, it's not the same, and the whole point of the Hunter Evo kind of went down. The Hunter Evo is no more. It takes like 2 seconds or something like that of time, and that's enough time to kill an Evil Hunter. It used to be like A, S tier, probably throw in like B, maybe even C tier. Actually, you know what? I'm going to throw in higher C tier, lower B tier around that area. Unless you're facing against Beatdown isn't the most powerful evolution in the game. This can be disputed. And also, if you're enjoying or found this useful, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We're trying to hit 10K subs by the end of the summer. It'd be very much appreciated. Ice Spirit got nerfed, which in turn makes the evolution get nerfed. Now, the freeze time is down by 1/10 of a second. Now, that may not seem like much, but in cycle decks, this could be the difference between life and death. Evil Ice Spirit is getting nerfed, which makes it a maybe B tier evolution? High B tier. Before, the Evil Ice Spirit had a 16% usage rate. This was about 2 seasons ago. Now it has an 8% usage rate. I suspect it will go down to about 4 to 2%. But this was honestly necessary for Supercell's end. There were these cycle decks with like Miner especially, and they would counter beatdown so efficiently. It was very difficult to beat. Evil Ice Spirit was just too efficient at countering everything. Inferno Dragon Evolution, I'm gonna throw it in S tier because it is really efficient at countering the beatdown meta that we have right now, but also since it keeps its charge, it is a powerful evolution and it will take the tower in seconds. And we love broken evolutions like that, of course. They've started the trend that they will wait 2 seasons to balance a broken card, which is like, well, we really needed that, Supercell. I mean, come on. Anyway, we'll throw it in S tier. Knight is an interesting evolution. I'll see him in log bait and a couple other decks like Expo. But other than that, not too powerful. But it should tell me that, you know, because he is in a couple of decks, higher B tier, maybe lower A tier, something like around that. I noticed that a lot of evolutions that I've ranked are kind of that area, like, oh, it's in between A and B tier. The Evil Knight, you know, when it walks, of course, it takes less damage. We all know that. And that's what makes it kind of versatile in Expo and log bait, of course, with the Evil Knight, Evil Barrel combo. Can be very annoying. But ever since like the 13 nerfs or whatever it had, ever since it came out, and it's still an A tier evolution is so shocking to me. Lumberjack evolution. Ever since that one nerf that Evil Lumberjack had, because Lumberjack is really only used in maybe Lava Hound, Lumberloon, and they do use it right. I mean, the Evil Lumberjack can be very useful in some situations. At least it's not day one Evil Lumberjack where it could be raged infinitely. That was broken. We all understand that. But realistically speaking, I'll probably throw it in B tier, kind of in the middle. Now that it's 2 cycle, it's definitely bad. And when they add a whole new cycle to an evolution, that's usually when it gets killed. Pretty unfortunate for the Evil Lumberjack, but it was kind of deserved since it was so broken on release. Mega Knight! Middle B tier. Evil Mega Knight has its usage in mid ladder. And of course, since they gave it out for free, he's pretty much everywhere. Has like a 15% usage rate, something stupid like that. It's just shocking to me how an evolution given out for free can affect its usage rate so much. The Evil Mega Knight isn't really that good of an evolution. Mortar. I hate Mortar evolution. I think we can all agree is one of the most annoying evolutions in the game. I want to throw it in crap Evo, but I can't. I have to be honest, just for the sake of populating A tier. We're gonna throw it up there. The reason why we're gonna throw it up there is because the stupid Goblin. Every freaking time it distracts all the cards that are trying to go for that Mortar. Maybe it's because I get countered by Mortar. All right, official change. From the Silver Lining department, Dark Goblin is being moved up about 4 evos. It just looked weird sitting there. I mean, Musketeer only used in 2.6. First of all, and that stupid minor, whatever, ice golem, balloon deck, whatever, cycle 3000, bro. Good evolution, but only really used situationally because Evil Musketeer, you get like cards in the back like Wizard or like a weak one like Magic Archer. She'll snipe like forever away, but not that used only because Musketeer herself is only limited to a few decks. Maybe. This is a long shot. Maybe lower A tier. Evil Musketeer is so underrated. It's probably one of the most underrated evolutions in the game right now, besides Skeleton Barrel. It's crazy. Also, let's just take a moment to feel bad for the Skeleton Barrel because it got released with like the biggest update in Clash Royale's history. Everyone's talking about the new game mode, new ladder changes, new rank changes, but no one's talking about the stupid Skeleton Barrel evolution. Show some love to the Skeleton Barrel evolution. Pekka! You know, I think it's only fitting that we're going to throw Pekka right next to the Goblin Giant because it's so stupid. Remember, Pekka was S tier evolution when he came out, then it was crap Evo after it got nerfed a few times. Now it's back into B A tier. We hate Pekka Goblin Giant on this channel. Royal Giant has been down ever since the Evil Hunter was down, and that brings the Monk down and ultimately the RG down, maybe like middle higher B tier. Royal Giant, it's one of the oldest evolutions. It has a long history, powerful when it came out. It was kind of like dormant in like a middle state. It was actually pretty balanced for the longest time. Then all the stars aligned and the Evil Hunter came out. It gave Evil RG a chance. It got a season or two. Then it's back down to B tier or something like that. I think it's good. RG is still probably one of the more balanced metas. I mean, it definitely has like middle of the range. Like, what the? Whoa. Yeah, it's definitely one of the most balanced metas. I probably just said something really wrong. Someone's gonna say like, oh, RG has a 2% usage rate in top ladders. Statistically speaking, you cannot. I want them to nerf Evil RG. Royal Recruits have always been high and mighty. We'll throw them in lower A tier because Royal Recruits have been a good evolution. They dash around to the tower. It's very matchup dependent. Like, I counter Royal Recruits relatively easy, but like some people with like Expo players and, you know, other decks like Pekka and stuff like that, they will get countered by Royal Recruits so easily and they will call for a nerf. I call for a nerf because Evil Recruits are really annoying for other people, especially. I don't think they really need a nerf, maybe a tiny rework. These A tier evolutions, they hardly even stand like any changes. And that's one of the really big factors affecting these evolutions. People are calling like, oh, nerf recruits, oh, nerf Firecracker. It's really meta changes. When a new card gets added, of course, the card that counters that new card will be boosted a little bit. That's just a fact. And the meta will shift and it will allow new evos to shine and stuff like that without even making any balance changes to it. Evo skeletons are down. They're down. And they are in a sad, sad position. I would almost throw them in C tier. In fact, you know what? I probably will. Because, you know, if you try to counter a Pekka with evil skeletons, what are they gonna do? They're gonna zap the evil skeletons, and that's it, basically. And now it is very difficult to extract value from the evil skeletons. It's unfortunate. I thought Evil Tesla would come back when it got buffed a few seasons ago. I was sorely mistaken. Evil Tesla is down. Evil Tesla has not been used virtually at all. The only situation I would see Evil Tesla is Expo. I'm just recapping like all of the games that I faced this season. I literally have not faced Evil Tesla once besides Expo, and that's rarely with Expo because they'll use Evil Archers. Evil Tesla sucks. I might throw it in crap Evo even. So you want to be an annoying little brat, just use Evil Tesla and Expo at the same time. Valkyrie has been in a nice position. Evo Witch has brought the Evil Valkyrie up a lot. And we love the fact that Evil Valkyrie is getting some usage because when it first came out, she was not that good. She actually had to get buffed like the season after. It was really weird, but she's probably been the most balanced evolution in the game. And because she's probably one of the most balanced evolutions in the game, we'll probably throw her in lower A tier. She's a good evolution, and honestly, the Supercell will just leave her there for the longest time because that's where she belongs. I haven't seen Evil Wallbreakers in ages, but you have. They've just slipped by without you noticing. Oh my gosh. We're back to this deck again. Stupid boss bandit cycle deck with, we hate it. We hate it, bro. Come on. It's decks like these that make me question why we play Clash Royale in the first place. Lower 8 tier, just get it out of my face because Evil Wallbreakers are good evolution. They can be really annoying because they can counter like this raw defenses that they use to counter your normal Wallbreakers. It's difficult to counter unless you have a building. We hate Evil Wizard on this channel. We also don't want him to be meta. I'm not offending anyone here because, well, no one uses Evil Wizard in the first place. Crap Evo. I gave Evil Wizard a tiny chance last evolution tier list. I threw him in C tier only because he was getting buffed. The tiniest and tiniest of buffs, but it did literally nothing to the Evil Wizard's usage rate. Don't use Evil Wizard. Evo Witch is getting nerfed. Again, it heals much less now per skeleton, which is exactly what we needed to counter the Evil Witch. Throw her in A tier, of course. She's probably still going to be used quite a lot, maybe with like graveyard decks and bowler. I think it could stand another nerf before it finally gets, you know, down to a position where the Evil Witch isn't meta anymore. I'm glad that she's getting nerfed, but it's been a long time coming. We needed this like 2 seasons ago. Should have been like this at release. And finally, Evil Zap. And we have an issue. I don't know where to put the Evil Zap. I could throw him at the end of B tier, but that wouldn't be right now, would it? But it just glitched. Okay, well, you know, it's crappy. No, I'm joking. Evil Zap is being used with, where is Evil Zap being used? See, like, but I don't want to put the Evil Zap anywhere good. You know, I have an idea. All right. There you go. When Evil Zap first came out, it had the 3 strikes, and they were really powerful if you combined them with Ram Rider. Oh man, so broken. Times were different back then. We had the Evil Zap meta. It's one of the only 2 spell evolutions. I'd like to see more, honestly. They're pretty cool sometimes. Now this is the final tier list. Now let me tell you something. There's probably some switching you probably do with like, I could probably move this up here or whatever. But let me tell you, the general tiers are probably where they belong. And let me know what you think in the comment section below. You know, check out everything. Maybe follow my Twitter. And again, hit that subscribe button. It'd be much appreciated. We're trying to hit 10K.